Hello everyone, Bashrop here, and today's lesson is on how to clip and combine furniture. When you start customizing your base, you'll quickly notice that a lot of the furniture is very picky with its placement. You often cannot even place two tables near each other, let alone clip them through to make them look like one bigger table. But not all furniture is equally restrictive. For instance, workbench placement is very forgiving compared to most buildable furniture. Luckily, there is a trick to force more restrictive furniture to be placed just where you want it. And the trick lies in binding two different pieces of furniture together by placing the more restrictive furniture on top of the less restrictive one. This will bypass the restriction on the child furniture, since it will inherit the restrictions of its parent. Now, for clip-in furniture, a workbench will do in a pinch, as most furniture and decorations can be placed on top of it, and you can sort of move it between safe houses, but you'd have to break it down and rebuild it each time. We can do better than that though, as there's a much better parent, and it's not even furniture, but something you can just pick up and move elsewhere. It's very light compared to a workbench, and you can place almost anything on top of it. It's the ultimate construction tool, the builder's best friend. It's the mighty pillow. Hear me out, the pillow will be your new best friend if you're trying to build anything even remotely complex. There are almost no items that can be placed on top of it, whether it's furniture or decorations. The main exceptions are all items that can only hang on walls, such as pictures or shelves, rugs, which got mysteriously more restrictive after a patch. Not sure where Hintron got the idea that anybody was stacking them to reach areas that weren't intended to be reached. Nobody would do that, right? A couple of select decorations are also not placeable on top of a pillow for whatever reason, like toy tractor or certain computers. So yes, this means you can place a whole bed on top of a pillow just fine, but not a toy tractor. That's just basics of interior decorations, right? Anyway, if you really want to place one of the few items that the pillow won't allow, you can just use a rustic storage box. It's pretty easy to build and move around, and as luck would have it, the box lets you place those few items the pillow does not. Pillows are also very easy to move between safe houses, weighing only 0.15 kilos and relatively easy to find, with at least one pillow available in most regions. And unlike workbenches, they can just be picked up, which means you don't have to worry about vertical alignment at all. After you pick up the pillow, the child item will just drop back down. Clip-in furniture unlocks many new possibilities. Simple ones like joining several smaller tables to build a larger table, or building corner shelves. Now, this might seem like a simple trick that lets you align furniture and decorate your safe house a bit more nicely, and sure, that's what it is, but it can be used for so much more if you think big enough. If you connect enough tables, who says they have to be tables? Maybe they're a floor or a balcony. Let's try and build a whole new floor in Pleasant Valley Outbuildings. The reason I'm choosing this building is because this second floor will be easily accessible from the upper floor. For most other buildings, we'll have to learn how to make stairs or ramps later. We'll be using coffee tables for our floor. The reason is that they are relatively large but also short, have no gaps like rustic tables do for example, and are relatively affordable at 6 fur per table, with only 4 hours to craft. This is crucial since in order to build a floor, we'll need to build an obscene amount of these and then connect them. You can, of course, use any other furniture you prefer for floors. I just find coffee tables to be the most convenient to mass produce and place. Once you have enough coffee tables, the first step is to connect them all together. I already explained the basic idea of clip-in furniture, but we can take it to the next level with a more advanced glitch. I call it the binding glitch because it's about binding items together. Items bound together can be moved as one item, even if those two items do not physically touch. Combining the binding glitch with the forgiving placement property of the pillow lets us clip and align furniture very neatly to build entire structures. The mechanics of the glitch are shockingly simple, and yet it's probably the most powerful mechanic for Safehouse customization you will learn in this series. We'll take your trusty pillow as the parent item to bind to, but we don't actually need to place the child on top of the pillow. We only need to hover over it until the placement is green, then cancel the placement. Now, if we move the pillow, we see the items are bound together, even though they're not touching at all. To unbind, either move the child manually, bind it to a different parent, or the simplest option that will generally be the most useful when building floors, hover it somewhere it cannot be placed and cancel the placement when red to ensure it's not bound to anything. The binding glitch allows for much more freedom when clipping because the child doesn't have to be placed on top of the pillow, and this makes it very easy to bind many items at once to just one parent item, exactly what we need to build and move a nice flat floor. You can also chain bind furniture. For example, you bind a bunch of tables to a pillow, but realize the pillow placement is a bit off when trying to move everything. You could just try all over again, but that's too tedious. How about we just bind a pillow to another pillow and now move the new parent? That's all there really is to it, and by being creative, you can do so much more with this binding glitch. One thing that might not be clear is, once we have the tables aligned, how do we place the floor to the top? When we move the pillow, the tables will be too high and it won't really align with the upper floor. When using the binding glitch, you always need to think about placement in relation to the parent item, in this case our pillow. If you want the tables to sink into the upper floor, they essentially need to be one table lower, which means we need to place the pillow one table higher before we bind the tables to it. The simplest way is to just place the pillow on top of one of the tables, but remember, this makes the pillow the child of the table, which is the opposite of what we want, so we unbind it. Now the pillow is not bound to anything, and we can start binding all the tables to it, and once we move it, the floor will align nicely. That's all the explanation you should need to build floors, and possibly other amazing things. I'll show you the full process of building a floor from scratch, just in case it's not clicking. I hope you'll enjoy, and thanks for watching.